Hello, and welcome back to an absolutely splendiferous episode of Saffron Honey Chai. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen Wicked for Good by now, and if you haven't, that's fine. The property is like, what, 50 years old? If you haven't read the book, good luck. Spoilers abound, of course. So if you don't like spoilers, please kindly click away. I I simply cannot discuss the film without discussing spoilers. Also, it's been like 2-3 weeks. I'm so sorry. Anyway, having said all that, let's get into the content. Let's get into the content. Because when I watched this movie, what was in my heart? What was in my mind? The theme of this movie to me is simply that love is not enough without change or sacrifice. Because Glinda, she loved. She loved Fiero. She loved Oz. And she loved Elphaba. But she didn't love anything more than she loved being comfortable. To the point where she even changed her name. She's Linda, not Glinda. You see, they anglicized her name. No, please, Queen. You're a proud Italian, Aussie, and American. Just keep your name. Don't let them change you. Be who you are. But at every point, the whole issue with her is that she's willing to compromise endlessly. Oh, please come back with me to Oz, Elphaba. Come back. We can sort something out. The issue is, for some reason, I feel like movies are going to this a lot, like properties recently are going to this a lot. But the issue in question is genocide. Because what are they doing? They're making the Munchkins second-class citizens. They're making animals second-class citizens. And, of course, animals in our world are like third, fourth-class citizens. Not even citizens. They're just like, they're technically legally considered objects in America. But these animals can talk. They can communicate. They can have discourse. They could hold office, theoretically, in this world because they can be very learned. Someone could be a cat prime minister in Oz, given, the ability. And yet, she knows what's happening to the animals. She had Dr. Dillman. She knows that animals are capable of discourse, of interaction, and of being valuable members of society. And yet, she says nothing to stand up for them, mainly because she says nothing to stand up for herself. Glinda, I'm so sorry. She is so beautiful, so slatastic, so adorable, but so cowardly. At a certain point in time in our lives, we must stand up and say, you know what? At the very least, this is my name. You're going to say it right. But she kept on letting herself get twisted and turned to and fro, even when she had strong backers. If she had stood by Elphaba the way she should have, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened if she had just stood by her girl the way she should have, the way she understood, she knew she had to. Most of this would have gone normally. There wouldn't have been all this stuff with Munchkin Land. There wouldn't have been all this stuff in Oz. All the animals wouldn't have had to go through this hardship. It would have just been hunky-dory. But no. She was like, but it's so comfortable and nice, and I got a bubble. And the bubble was so... Gosh, it was a little heavy-handed of a metaphor. It's like, I'm in my bubble. I'm enjoying my bubble. I'm the girl in the bubble. This is great. It's like, yeah, you are the girl in the bubble because you're out of touch and you're afraid to live life. So in the end, when she's finally like taking over and taking charge, it's kind of embarrassing because it's like, girl, you could have had this for the past 2 hours. I don't understand. I don't understand what stopped you. But in any case, I feel like her love for the people that she really cared about was not enough. Like, because she was so upset about, quote unquote, losing Fiero to Elphaba. But she never had him at all. Like, she had him and dancing through life. It was great. They were like looking at each other with love in their eyes and dancing and stuff. But they were, I imagine, kids at the time. At least a couple years younger. They were college, whatever. However, comma, no way. No way. That man kind of looked at you like, What do you mean engaged? What do you mean? What do you mean this is our engagement party? He got the human equivalent, like the movie star equivalent of being invited to a destination wedding in like your home country and then finding out, what now? Who's the groom? It's like, oh, it's you, babe. You're the groom. And we got this great outfit for you. At no point in time in this movie did I look at how he looked at her and thought, wow, this man's smitten. And somehow she was like, oh, you stole him from me. How could you take my man? Girl, your man was took by himself. Alpha didn't even have to show up in the whole movie. He just did not, he wasn't that into you. He didn't like you that much. And that's okay. You don't need a man to be happy. You have all this other cool stuff. You don't need that guy to be happy. He's just convenient and safe and familiar. But you could do better. At least by finding someone who actually likes you. That's just me though. That's just me though. I feel like the best guy is the guy that likes you that you like as well. It can't just be some guy that you knew for a while. And it's like, oh yeah. I mean, I just known him so long. I guess we gotta stay together. No, you don't. And her love for him was so shallow as well, because she just liked how they looked together. They looked great together in pictures. He set up a fine figure next to her, and that was delightful. But it just simply wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. However, Fierro, he fully understood the assignment. He said, we can't just let them keep talking about her like that. She was like, no, it's not that big a deal. Don't worry. It's like, no, we have to do something. And he was just playing the long game. When he pulled out that gun in that one scene, it was like, let her go. My man. Although, not Galinda's, man. I feel so bad for her on that front. I know it hurts to lose, but I love to see Elphaba win. Even though she was in the forest that whole time. Her micro braids looked perfect. Her nails were still beautiful. Those nail beds looked immaculate. Like, not mine though. Don't look too close. Now, I do actually have some controversial opinions about the movie as well. So I'm going to ask y'all to hold some space for me. Hold a little bit of space for me in this. Because I like the movies more than I like the play. Feel it, hate it, that's fine. It's my controversial opinion. I can accept it. But I like the movies so much more than the play. And mind you, I've only seen one of the movies. But when I first watched the play, this was after having listened to the original cast recording several times. I was like, wow, this is mid. I really just did not like the play compared to the music. I was like, damn, the music is good. But this play is like kind of all over the place. It was like, I just felt like the story wasn't grounded enough. It was too many things happening and the music was too strong for the story. But the way they married the music and broadened out the story a little bit, iconic, exceptional. And then the sets, good God, the practical effects, just the way everything looked. It was so much better than I expected, because I was a little nervous. I'm always a little bit nervous when they start making live action versions of plays, television shows, animated features. I was nervous, but my expectations were blown out of the water. Even just the visuals for the first one, I thought, oh, this is quite good. Because, of course, I've seen the screen caps, I've seen the clips, everything like that. But this one, I was like, okay, this is really good. And even the parts that were like sort of on the edges, I thought that was great. And the 2 songs they added, chef's kiss. They knew exactly what to add. They knew exactly what to sort of take away. And they knew how to make the world look correct and enjoyable for a viewer. I know there are, of course, some hardcore theater fans who are like, it wasn't good enough because they didn't do this and that, and the brown color on that bear was about 3/8 the wrong color. That's fine. No one's gonna be 100% happy all the time, but I was quite satisfied with it. I really enjoy when a film can fully encapsulate what a piece was trying to say and then add its own flavor to it. I think that is just the height of artistry and collaboration. This is the reality of the human soul. It made me so excited. I got chills. And then Another controversial opinion. I like chatting a little bit during the movie. Not like full volume chat, like, wow, this scene is so exciting. No, that's crazy. But like, oh my God, did you just see that? I love sitting there with a good little group and chatting and a little bit, not the whole time, not every single word, every single part, but I had a good group with me and we were just yucking it up because we're theater kids and we have a little bit of spending money. So we have a lot of background information. And I started reading the book shortly after. So I had I had a lot of thoughts cooking up in my head because we all heard the original Broadway cast recording. We've all seen multiple projects. We all know about the actors and the press tour. So we were just like, just great little bits. And I also love when kids talk in the movie because kids don't know how to modulate their volume right. So there was one part where Alphabet came up and it was like, is she sad, mommy? Yes, baby. She is very sad. You wouldn't believe how sad she is. Her man just died. I mean, yeah, of course she's sad. Somebody was brutally executed. Yeah. But you have to learn. You have to learn. So, like, of course, this child of unsure gender had to ask somewhat loudly in the crowded theater, what was happening there? What was going on, Mom? And the mom, of course, whispered, so I don't know her answer, but I like to think that the child understood her. But I do think that we've all become a little too polite in plays and movie theaters. We have this like etiquette built around it, and that's not really been the nature of theater the whole time. The nature of like the current theater experience slash the current movie theater experience is very recent. In the past, people were going to the theater to have a ball. Like everyone's like, oh, what Shakespeare? We have to be more Shakespearean. People were not sitting during Shakespearean plays. They were standing and they were talking and they were drinking. So they're standing, they're talking, they're drinking. They're like, yeah, do something cool. Take off your shirt. Take off your shirt. Good sir, what is this? Just acting a fool and having a ruckus. So I think a little bit of chatting is just fine. Especially because the theater is extremely loud. Sometimes it can hurt your ears depending on where you're sitting. But with that in mind, I think it's okay for a little chitter chatter. My personal opinion, my personal opinion. And now we're going to go back to the movie a little bit. I really enjoyed how they fleshed out, like the film fleshed out more of the animal rights parts. Because when I was watching the play, I was like, I feel like they could dig a little deeper here. But in the movie, they really dug deep. And you could really see the loss that this had for the society of Oz. We're going to do that again. Because you could really see what Oz lost as a society when the animals left or were ousted. You could see that the world was just a little bit less colorful. And even the things that they wanted, like when you saw them building the Yellow Brick Road, you can see it's kind of like brutal and miserable what's going on. It's not it's not really giving anything positive. It's really giving, yeah, you guys can suffer because you're subhuman. I mean, of course they're animals. Like, we eat animals. I get it. This might be the wrong person to be on the soapbox, but I just feel like if you can converse with someone, there are ways that you should manage the relationship that's a little bit different. But in any case, you could really see the loss. And then when they have the scene in the song where they're like, we have to leave. And Elphaba's like, no, we should stay and we should fight. Elphaba was dead wrong. I definitely understand why she wanted to stay and fight. But no, it wasn't necessary. Because the animals, they knew what was up. Our lives are really hard and it's only going to get harder because no one here cares about what we have to say. No one cares what we have to say. No one cares about what we're going through. We care about each other and we care about taking care of our own. So we're going to go do what we have to do, take care of each other, take care of our own. And Elphaba, God, her character arc is so good. Her whole life, she's had to fight just to be seen, just to be understood, just to be heard. And this whole movie, she's just like, no, they don't understand. They don't know the truth. They have to understand. No, baby, you don't have to tell anyone the truth. You don't owe anyone the truth, especially if they don't want to listen. What you have to do is what's right for you. And you don't have to put on this show and fight so hard just to feel like you could maybe be heard a little bit, you can just exist. But her whole life, she's had to fight for a little bit of sunshine. She's been just dying in the shadows. But now she has power. She has prestige. She's like, no, I can do a little bit. Like they know I got the book. I can. No, they just want to use you. And the animals, they see that. That's where they're leaving. I found it quite painful, really, to see Alphabet in this one because, you know, in her childhood, obviously she's not the man's real daughter. So he treated her like trash because his wife cheated on him. It's like, obviously, this is the affair, baby. Don't piss me off. And then she constantly had to take care of Nessa, real glass child standards. And then even in her adulthood, she has her one little moment, where she's the important one, she's the special one, she's the one that matters. And then yet again, she's knocked down a peg. She's tossed into the wilds. She's like, ugh, she's wicked. We have to kill her. We got to get rid of her. Just because she won't fall in line, she fell in line her whole life. She doesn't owe you people that at all. And with that, I must get to Nessa. This is a little bit controversial as well, but less so. I think that the dad did Nessa such a disservice by like treating her like a Fabergé egg. Now, of course, Nessa is disabled. She cannot walk. But that doesn't mean that there was nothing she could do. They acted as though, like the father acted as though, no, you have to make sure you're taking care of that, you're looking out for da da da. But there's a lot in making sure a child is confident. A child is healthy in mind and body. There's so much that Nessa was capable of, that Nessa was able to do. And he kind of pushed her into this small box that made her feel like any good thing she had to cling on to. So when she had one date with Bach 5-6 years ago, now as a grown woman who was the governor, she's like, oh, I gotta stay tied to this. I don't know how else to be, because her father did wrong by her. He didn't teach her that you're important on your own. You have value on your own. There's a lot that you can do, and there's some things that you can't do, but there's a lot you can do, and you have a lot to offer the world. You have a lot to offer the world. But instead, he like kind of put her out there and made her sister her handler. So now she doesn't have that confidence because it was an absolute lack of confidence that went in such a toxic direction. How are you sitting next to this man every day and you see him miserable? You see him getting more and more sad, more and more depressed. And then to a certain extent, he did trust her. So when he was like, I think it's time for me to move on, she was like, I think not. I think not. You're staying here forever. We're locked in forever. And it's such a miserable thing. Truly, it's such a miserable thing. Because she could have had a really good life with a really great man who really cared about her. Like, in the same way that she and Glinda are like sort of matched up in that way. They both like someone who couldn't care less. Like, of course, they wouldn't want to see them harmed. They want to make sure they're safe and healthy, but they don't really care about them. Like, Bach wasn't her man. Bach was just the guy she went out on one date with and then hyper fixated on for the rest of her life. That's crazy. That's bad. And that is a direct result of how she was parented. She should have been encouraged more, much, much more than she was, because she's beautiful. She's talented. She's intelligent. She's highly articulate. She became the governor. Okay. Even in this world of like weird politics where this and that can occur, becoming the governor of anywhere, even the governor of Munchkinland, is a highly impressive feat. So she had it in her. She just had to understand that she could have more. Also, if she wanted to, not to encourage this, she could have had harem. What are you caring about this one little munchkin for? Let him go. There's like 8 of them. This is Munchkin land. So you're like, hey, you got any shotties over here? Like, bring me like 10 of them. We're going to look around. We're going to see what we like. I don't understand. Granted, I can't say I would have done that specifically because that feels weird, a weird abuse of power for me. But she clearly didn't care about abusing power. Her man said, oh, I'm about to leave. And she said, it's actually illegal for you to go anywhere that's not right next to me. I'll sign off on anybody, but not you. And just like when she took away Bach's heart too, she couldn't even accept responsibility for it. She couldn't even accept responsibility that she did it. She was like, it was Alphabet that did this. Alphabet did that. She made you into this. Yeah, Alphabet saved his life because you almost killed him because you were too horny to function and too afraid of losing out on what you had, which you didn't have to begin with, girl. I mean, open your eyes. That man did not want you. Thoughts and what? Prayers. And it's sort of a waste to see her character die like that. I don't like it when they have a disabled character and then they make the disabled character a little bit too evil for most people's taste, and then they kill her off. I hate that. Like, redeem her. They redeemed Galinda. I'm sorry, I said your wrong name. They redeemed Galinda. They could have redeemed Nessa. They didn't have to kill Nessa. I felt like that was crazy. Now, granted, it did happen in the play, but I thought the play was wrong too. I was mad as hell when I got out of that play. I was like, they killed her for no reason. This is foolishness. But alas, it's a problem with parenting. You know, if you're a parent of a disabled child, make sure you build up that confidence, baby. Make sure you build up that confidence because the world is their oyster. But you have to believe it. You can't be too scared. You can't be too scared of them living life to let them have a life, to let them be able to enjoy life. Because it's right after he died, all of a sudden now she's the governor of Munchkinland. Oh, he died and now she's achieving stuff? Oh, that's crazy. Don't be a child's first bully by overprotection. Overprotection can also be mistreatment. I think I have. I've exhausted all my thoughts on this movie, except for the fact that I really enjoyed it and I really enjoyed the music. I think it's a great film to watch, especially a great film to watch with people who are really big enjoyers of theater and musicals, two different things. And I do think it's definitely worth the big screen experience. I don't think this is going to be up by the time it's still in theaters, but if you have a large television or you know someone with a large television or you have a projector and a blank wall, I definitely think this requires a big screen experience. This is not one you can watch on TikTok Live. I'm so sorry, babe. And with that, have a fantabulous, crunktastic day, babe. Mwah. Ta-ta. Thanks so much for making it to the end of this one. I really hope you enjoyed it. Even if you didn't, comment section's right there for you to let me know. Rain or shine, like or dislike. That all helps me out to know what the audience is responding to, and it also helps the YouTube algorithm to know if you hate me, such is fate, but if you like me, please share it with me. I would love to know. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and don't be afraid to look in the description.